quick video about this because this is so weird. You saw the Gail Simone thing from yesterday when she spurged out with the dynamite thing. This guy is an interesting character. Try to imagine the way he's speaking. On one hand, I understand the idea here. These people harassed you, and that is awful. However, at the same time, a lot of us who are also harassed, doxxed, and everything else don't have the luxury of waiting. I hope you can make the decision to support those in pain. He's talking to Gail Simone, comic book writer extraordinaire, who he's talking to her about Cecil's cover for Dynamite. Are you insane? Does anyone... And the people who respond to him, well, some people say, these people that have harassed you are awful. That said, I choose to harass and shame you for something that you're blameless for. They give him a little bit of pushback. It's funny, you can tell when SJWs don't like other SJWs, so they try to, they find ways where they can stick the knife in, and this is one of those ways. I'm not harassing anyone. I'm just commenting. I've been harassed by the same people. This is a guy who issued 2 death threats, albeit not to the same extent. I believe she'll make the right decision in time. I'm just worried for those who might be hurt in the interim. I believe she'll... How do you get... This guy, I think he's 25. I don't know if he's in the comic industry or not. I don't think so, because he'd probably use his real name if he was, and he'd probably have a check mark. How do you get this level of hubris, this absolute self-importance to think you can tell, and love or hate Gail Simone's writing. I'm not a big fan of it. She's an accomplished writer with a pedigree behind her. Who is this pipsqueak to dare tell her she needs to do something? He's trying to compel her behavior. This is what SJWs do. They're the worst people. He goes, I'm just commenting. I've been harassed. That's not what I said. I said that I respect her needs, but that others need support now too, especially the vulnerable. See, they use anyone that they can put atop of an oppression ladder as their shield and as their lever, especially the vulnerable. I do not know if you are deliberately misinterpreting what I said, or if I should have been clearer, or both. See, this is the two of them dancing around landmines, because they know that they're both SJWs and they're both idiots, but they're trying to be very, very careful, because they know that they have an audience, and they know that they're on the same side, and they're trying to, the SJWs do nothing without reaching a consensus. You know what? You're right. I suppose if I need to explain my motives, I usually put others' burdens before addressing my own needs. I suppose I simply pushed that again because I know people are already being hurt, and that deeply bothered me, perhaps making me irrational. How do you get off on yourself so much? And this is another thing SJWs do, is insane. They do things like, yikes, my guy, yikes, friendo. This is not a good take. The levels of developmentally disabled bundles of stickery on Twitter is absolutely something else. Twitter is a learning experience. I am learning that there are a lot of people who swallowed this SJW cancer balls deep. And a lot of those who aren't, they don't actually believe it. They're just using it as a tool. Like Renfamous, it's just a grift for her. I don't think she's that on board with it. It's just... she knows she can get those sweet, sweet dopamine hits from it. I remember decades ago overhearing some kids speaking in Newspeak to his lesbian co-parents. Yes, that was a thing in my neighborhood. The kid was saying, I feel, when he started his sentences. I felt like yelling at them. You don't have to buy into the brainwashing, but what's the point? I'm sure the kid is happily married and not shooting heroin under a bridge. This Dynamite kerfluffle cover is ongoing and just keeps on rolling. Somebody mentioned the reason is because Cecil is a Comicsgate guy. He's an outsider to the industry. He did better than they have done. I said it was going to hit 8,000 by tonight. It already hit 8,000. So how far is it going to go? They have done, if they didn't want him to do well, and I hope he does amazing, they've done exactly the opposite. They're making it a left versus right issue, a CG versus non-CG issue, a freedom of expression versus censorship issue. So people are just going to rage by it, like they do with a lot of Comicsgate stuff, which is fine. Because, I mean, ultimately, you're trying to sell something, and as long as it's a decent product, it doesn't matter why they buy it. If EVS can make $1 million, these people, they call people who buy support Comicsgate projects like pay pigs and stuff like this. If the product was substandard, you wouldn't repeat the purchase. Like sometimes I get you're buying something just to support the content creator, but you wouldn't do that several times in a row. Anyway, there's one of these guys who's on the chat. Has a comic company in Sunnyvale, which I thought I should almost drive down to. He says that they are done selling Dynamite comics. I checked, he's got like 7,000 followers. How well is your business doing that you can refuse business? I guess the comic business must be booming. The snarkiness of this guy and all these other idiots is, it's like, who are you? Why does your opinion matter? Oh, we're not going to sell Dynamite. Well, how many did you sell last month? Or how many did you sell last year? Oh, well, we sold, $5,000. Okay, well, then nobody effing cares. You're not making some big splash. You're not helping yourself. Actually, I was going to say you're not hurting yourself, but you are hurting yourself because you probably lost a few customers when you did that. And like, what do you say when a retailer walks in and says, "Hey, do you guys have any of those Comicsgate books?" And the thing is, they assume people are going to walk in full World War II regalia, just with those. No, I'm thinking the cool hats were World War I with the spikes coming out of them. Like they think, oh, these Comicsgate guys are just going to, leather and iron crosses and all this kind of stuff and roar up on their motorcycles. And are you insane? All of that is nonsense. Someone being a trolling asshole does not make them a Austrian corporal. You people had your sense of humor surgically removed at birth, probably anally. So, like, what do you say to a customer if you're a retail? If someone says, "Oh, hey, do you guys have Comicsgate or do you have Dynamite?" I'd be like, "Oh, let me order that for you. What were you looking for?" "Yes, sir. Have a nice day. Give me the green paper you have because I'm a business person doing business." These people would tell them, "Oh, Comicsgate's a hate group, so we don't sell their stuff. They attack women and LGBTs." What, do you mean it's like all one-sided? They're just like a real hate group? Or like, because even SGWs know the difference between somebody we don't like because the consensus is we don't like them and somebody we don't like because they're legitimately evil. Anyway, so it's like, so then, why do women and trans people and all these people who have prefixes before their identity, why do they get a shield? Because they're oppressed. So does that mean people can't criticize their horrible writing and art? Because that's what equality means, the ability to criticize everybody. Now here's the problem. Many of these protected classes aren't there on merit. So now people are in the position of saying that like Max Visaggio's writing seems derivative of William Gibson, George Lucas, and a bunch of pop culture reference movies from the 80s, which is kind of odd because I don't think Mags is that old. Like, I think their pop culture references would more be in the 90s. Anyway, but Mags wins all sorts of awards for stuff that doesn't do well commercially. And yeah, I understand that artistic merit is different from commercial success, but Kim and Kim, Morning in America, Vagrant Queen, Attorney Girl were mediocre. They mostly have potential, but Mags isn't getting the criticism that Brian Visaggio would have got. People are terrified to criticize a protected class. Kim and Kim could have been good, which is what makes it so frustrating. But you don't get good in an echo chamber. Mark Waid and EVS got good because they are straight males. It was sink or swim for them, or float really. But I mean, not that I should speak, I've gained 11 pounds so far. So I occasionally read reviews for like the Joe Glass and the other purse puppy types. The creator may as well have written those reviews themselves. They get amazing reviews. Just sycophantic reviews, but nobody buys the comics because they suck. Another weird related thing is I see a lot of charity in the purse puppies. The guy who said he wouldn't sell Dynamite. People were so supportive of his decision not to sell something. Stunning and brave. One guy overseas said it was a shame that they didn't ship overseas. Someone else in the comments said he should just donate to the store. I mean, first of all, who the fuck are you to tell me to spend how to spend my money? What a fucking asshole. So if they did ship overseas, your local comic book store would miss out on the sales that you would have bought from them. And don't they need your business? And as for donating, you're saying to subsidize a business because they made a bad decision that supports your ideology. Is that crazy? You're paying them not to do business with Dynamite. Nobody in the comments will say anything to go against the narrative because they're scared. They don't want to get dogpiled. That is something they absolutely fear. Everyone fears it, but there's less, I guess there's less dogpiling on right of center groups. If you subsidize something, you'll get more of it. Name a dozen purse puppies. Did any of them get there on merit? The problem is in many organizations beyond comics. Listen to a Antifa BLM speech. They never actually accomplish anything because it's very slow to have a group consensus for every decision. A leader makes everything move faster, even if they're not perfect. The problem with SJWs is the visible leaders are chosen on reverse merit. Say you had a Russian guy with the best ideas and a way to speak that resonated with the crowd. He can't be chosen because the optics of a straight male sort of counters their narrative. They have to listen to screeching idiots because they're a protected class. It's the one thing that will always hold them back. I don't know if you remember the Bernie speech from 4 years ago. Bernie was running to be president. People were there to hear him speak. Even people who were not going to vote for him, we still want to hear what he had to say. Because, it's elect Bernie Sanders. That's his name. That's who we're here for. The crowd is only going to hang around for so long. And you had these two idiots who took the microphone away from him, and his security detail just let it happen. He may as well have just walked away forever. If he told the security to get them off the stage, grabbed the mic, and said, "You guys can speak after, I have an election to win," he still would have lost, but at least he would have kept his respect. You can look old, but you can't look weak. So I saw that exchange between Gail Simone, an adult, and that other guy, another adult, presumably. They're using that newspeak to talk to each other. They sounded like slow children. The guy was basically trying to get her to, I guess, denounce Dynamite. Who does this pipsqueak think he is? And why the hell would Gail entertain him? Ignore him. If you see a douchebag on social media, just mute the douchebag. That's what the button's for. And don't, if you mute them and not block them, it actually frustrates them more because they never get a response. So they're just talking into a vacuum. This is some guy who has some issues with Comicsgate. And, I was thinking, like, some of the CG channels aren't growing, like Myers and EVS's channels are just absolutely dead flat. I have to suspect that there are a lot of SJWs who are just reporting videos nonstop. And so it gets the channel hit a little bit out of the algorithm because there's no reason. Ethan stopped at 130 and Myers kind of stopped at 107. They flatline. They absolutely flatline. There's no way that's organic. You're telling me, there's about 100,000 comic book fans who want to hear their stuff? I don't think so. I think there's probably more out there. I think there's guys on Twitter who are just like these people who had this kind of soy exchange who think if they don't like something, that means you can't consume it. These are the worst douchebags on earth. So this guy made a song, a parody of a parody song, because he doesn't like this other guy who writes comics. This guy writes comics, and he goes to conventions and he sings stupid songs. So this guy wrote a song about a song. And now I'm making a video about it. I realize it's all derivative all the way. What if it was cake all the way down? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. I'll see you on the next episode.